Hey guys, so I found this interesting little article here from Erik Kain at Forbes. Now, I'm very aware that this guy's not there's not really any savory opinions of this guy in the Walking Dead community or the Walking Dead fandom. But I mean, I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but honestly, his sentiments on the current state of The Walking Dead is basically how I feel. But anyway, so I found this. He says, what The Walking Dead's crumbling ratings mean for the future of the show. Let's see. The Walking Dead is back with its ninth season, the final season for series protagonist Rick Grimes. I've watched the first 3 episodes, and I'm generally pleased to report that they're much better than the last 2 seasons. I suppose that's fairly promising, even though I kind of dispute the first episode. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. I mean, if you saw my review episode, you would probably know that. But though the season premiere did have some classic Walking Dead idiocy at times. Yeah, that sounds about right. Alas, this hasn't stopped ratings from collapsing to season 1 levels. It's a bloodbath. Though the reasons for dropping? Did you mean to say dropping there, Eric? I'm just saying. Or maybe it is drooping. For drooping ratings are complicated and certainly extend beyond just audience burnout. Numerous factors have contributed to the decline in the show's ratings. Cable cutting is part of this. That is absolutely correct. As more and more TV viewers ditch traditional TV and appointment viewing in favor of watching shows on streaming services Sorry, I can't read to save my life. Services like Netflix. Often these viewers will tune in months later. AMC also offered the season premiere a day early for anyone willing to pony up for a $4.99 month subscription. This resulted in a huge boost in subscribers, many of whom watched early online instead of tuning into premiere on cable. I'm not sure exactly how AMC Premiere will factor into whether or not it's, positive prospects for the show, but I guess we'll wait and see. I will get to this very shortly, because this is something that I definitely need to talk about. So anyway, whether the reason or conspiracy of reasons, the ratings drop is bad news for both AMC and The Walking Dead. I don't think that can be denied. I've seen people say that I've seen people try to say, well, the DVR numbers are high, or it's like that boosted the ratings and blah, blah, blah. To me, it seems like including DVR is a moot point, because, now correct me if I'm wrong, but DVR numbers don't equate profit. The AMC makes money off of the commercials that air during the show's breaks. So to say that DVR somehow accounts for that, I don't know. I mean, yeah, so I'm not entirely sure about that. But like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, if DVR actually does account for the profits. But anyway, AMC stock has fallen 10% as analysts began ringing alarm bells about the future of the biggest show on cable TV. That right here is, and I'm surprised nobody has mentioned that. I mean, it's bad enough that the ratings are slipping for the show, but the fact that now AMC stock has fallen, that is especially not a good sign. Which kind of worries me, because now I worry about if that could potentially affect some other shows on the network. Because, quite frankly, I'm a diehard fan of a few of the shows. I'll be getting to that in a later video. Let's see. I have mixed feelings about all this. On the one hand, I've seen the first 3 episodes of the show, and I enjoyed all 3 more than anything we've gotten for 2 seasons. Just because episode 1 was better than the previous 2 seasons does not make it great. I'm sorry. Let's just face it. It's not going to be on par with when the show was at its peak. There's just no way. But anyway, episode 3 is especially good. I'll take his word for it. So we'll see. On the other hand, this show has gone on for 9 seasons almost, and it might be time to start wrapping it up. Oh, I highly agree with that. Even if AMC decides to start a 3rd show in the same Walking Dead universe with new characters and stories. I honestly think that their best bet would be to end the main show and either bring the surviving characters onto Fear, that's if they can keep that show afloat, or just start an entirely new spin-off and just somehow keep the ties severed from the main show. But I will be discussing that in a future video. Anyway, ultimately, I probably need to withhold judgment just a little while longer. Fair enough. I was enthusiastic about the start of the season 4 of the Fear the Walking Dead, but had to quickly eat my hat when the season imploded in spectacular fashion. Yeah, judging from what I've seen of the feedback on Fear the Walking Dead, it hasn't been exactly very promising, which is kind of sad, but because to my understanding, like I said, it's been a while since I've watched Fear the Walking Dead, probably the past 2 seasons. I have not watched since season 2. But it's like the general consensus I've seen is that season 3 is exceptionally better. In season 4, the first half started off very solid, and then I've heard the back half was an utter shit show. At least that's what I've seen from the general consensus. I don't want to pin too many hopes on the first 3 episodes of the show, but I don't want to rain on its parade unnecessarily either. I want to give new showrunner Angela Kang a chance. Like I said, fair enough, despite her making some very irksome mistakes in the season premiere. Right now, falling ratings don't spell doom for The Walking Dead. Call me the cynic that I am. I think it's definitely the beginning of the end. But I do think they spell out very clearly that the show is long past its heyday. Very, very true. We will get back to the levels of hype and fan engagement we saw in we will never get back to the level of hype and fan engagement we saw in seasons 3 and 5. What the ratings collapse tells us more than anything is that over the past 3 years have slowly but surely lost interest in this show. Oh boy. As someone who claims to be a hardcore fan, I can't tell you how true that is. I mean, season 6 was really when I started to see just how... That's when I certainly started to notice the flaws. But of course, season 7 and 8 was what really did it in for me in terms of my loyalty to this show. That's partly because it killed off characters like Glenn. I kind of disagree with that. I mean, how Glenn died... I mean, Glenn did die in the comic almost in a similar fashion, even though I wish they would have kept his death the same in the show as it was in the comic, but I digress. And is frequently advertising the departure of Andrew Lincoln and Rick Grimes. Yeah, I don't get this. I'm just like, is AMC that desperate to... Are they that desperate for ratings that... Of course, why am I saying that? I shouldn't be surprised. I had a feeling that once when Andrew Lincoln said he was departing, that they were going to market the shit out of his exit. It's partly because the last 2 seasons were poorly executed with far too much Negan and far too many bad fights and poor dialogue. Couldn't agree more. And it's partly because even good shows that don't make these mistakes start to see audiences waver and move on to greener pastures. Oh yeah, there are far more interesting shows out there than The Walking Dead. That's for damn sure. I would love nothing more than to keep writing reviews for this show forever. It's been one of the highlights of my job as a critic, and even the show has gone downhill and my writing has grown more critical and at times downright negative. Oh boy, do I Do I relate to that? Well, I mean, not the critic part, but as a loyal viewer watching this show downhill, and I've been more critical of the show than praising it. That's, yeah, I can absolutely relate to that, sir. I keep trying to express the many ways I think the show could have improved, offering my advice free of charge episode after episode. AMC has, up to this point, stubbornly ignored its critics. I see at least a glimmer of hope that it's changing, but I fear it's all too late. It's all much too late. I think the problem with I think the problem was that I think AMC became a victim of its own success. They wanted to appeal to a much larger audience, and in return, that completely watered down the storyline. To put it bluntly, appeal to the lowest common denominator, which I feared was probably going to happen. It seems to happen with almost every major franchise. But anyway, to go back up to what was said about AMC Premiere. Now, this is a very stupid strategy on AMC's part, and I'll tell you why. So going to their website, this right here. You have to be a cable subscriber to get AMC Premiere. That is a very bad strategy, and you want to know why? Because your key demo, which is supposed to be 18 to 49, are leaving cable by the droves. Like, I can tell you, I personally, we have not had cable in our household for 10 years. It's been about 10 years, and we've been getting by just fine. So, I mean, I've seen people say that they haven't released the number of signups, and I can probably tell you why. It's probably because they were not what the numbers that they were anticipating, which I could have told them that if you made your service, if you opened up your market to online, people who do online streaming, then I think that would work out much better in their favor. Honestly, that's what AMC needs to do. It's like they need to okay, let's just put it bluntly here. Cable TV is what is going out the phrase that I like to consider, it's going the way of the dodo. People are canceling their prescriptions. Yeah, like they're going to the pharmacy. But they're canceling their subscriptions. They're leaving cable in droves in favor of online streaming. And if AMC actually followed in the same steps as HBO or Showtime, because, I mean, I know you have HBO now and then Showtime Anytime, which provides online subscriptions for access to their programming with no cable subscription needed. I mean, I would gladly pay to have an online streaming service from AMC. Absolutely. Because there's other TV shows on their network that I thoroughly enjoy, and actually I have some plans for some videos in the near future on that. But yeah, it's like, I truly wish that they would just actually open up online streaming on AMC. You need to start getting with the times. So, yeah, I just thought I would share this interesting little article. I'm curious to know if anyone has any comments. You can certainly leave them down below. I have one video that I'm currently working on. So I'm currently working on the script for it, so I'm not sure exactly when I'll have that up given my time constraints with work and stuff. But yeah, I just thought I would share this all in the meantime. And like I said, if you have any comments, you you can certainly, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it, and I will catch you guys later.